Anniversary of D-Day on June 6th is a huge turning point in World War II. It's the beginning of the liberation of continental Europe when Allied forces come ashore on the beaches of Normandy, as well as airborne troops landing behind lines, and it really begins the reversal, if you will, of German occupation of continental Europe. North Carolina actually plays a huge role in D-Day. Most of the airborne troops undergo at least part of their training here in North Carolina. And the airborne itself actually comes about during World War II because of a North Carolinian, William Lee from Dunn, North Carolina. He was one of the rising stars in the U.S. Army in the 1930s. And he was sent to Europe in the 1930s to observe what European armies are doing in the way of armor. And he goes over there and he does that, but he also sees airborne troops. And he's like, maybe that's something we should look into. So he comes back and presents that idea to Washington, and he gets the green light to go ahead and start exploring the idea of airborne troops. And what begins as a parachute test platoon, initially just a couple dozen guys, will eventually grow into 5 airborne divisions during World War II. One of the airborne artifacts that we have on exhibit here in Answering the Call is this paratrooper's uniform right here. It was worn by Ed Bailey from Nash County. This is the actual uniform that he wore when he jumped into Normandy on the morning of June 6, 1944. His unit had 12 howitzers. All but one of them were lost on the drop, so they were forced to scrounge whatever weapons and ammo they could find on the ground. Some of them, I'm sure, were using captured German weapons as well. Remembering D-Day, I think, is huge because, again, this was such a turning point in the war in Europe, and especially in France. The French people then as well as today, they continue to express their gratitude to the veterans and now to the children and the families of the veterans who were there and helped to liberate France and free them from Nazi German occupation. To me, it's very important that we commemorate and remember the sacrifices that were made, not just by the American forces, but by all the Allied forces there.